I'm going to do something I didn't think I would do. I'm going to tell you who to vote for. Yeah, I'm going to tell you who to vote for. In fact, I did this story last night on Instagram and asked a question like, hey, who's waiting until after the election before they make a decision to buy in the Dominican Republic or move to the Dominican Republic or whatever it might be? And half the people said that they were. Half, and it was a lot of votes. Half of them said they're waiting to see if it's Trump or it's Harris. And they both cite the same reason. If Trump wins, it's all going to hell. If Harris wins, it's all going to hell. Both sides have their own thoughts on it, but they're voting for the wrong person. There is a person out there, there's a candidate to vote for that's way better than Trump or Harris in determining whether or not you should buy property down here or you should move down here. It's very simple. But today, it's October 29. We're 6 days away from this election. 6 days away from apparently the one thing happening that's going to free up 1,000 people or so that said they're waiting until this election happens to determine whether or not they buy or, go through with their dream move of coming down to the Dominican Republic. Crazy to me and ridiculous. So what I want to do is tell you a little story that I think will illustrate truly what's happening here. Because it's not about the candidates. It's not about Trump or Harris. It's not about any of that. And again, it's not the right person to vote for anyway. There's somebody that you need to vote for. It's not about any of that, though. It is about fear. If you are somebody who is saying right now, like, well, I'm waiting to the end of the election. Nah, you're not waiting for the election. You can give me logical arguments. You could say, oh, here's the reason, that's the reason, because of this or this policy. It's all fear. You're scared. I don't blame you. Fear it's natural. It's what we all have in us. We all have fears about things. But I'd rather you just admit it. So let me tell you this story. I went to Scape Park this past weekend with my family. I went with my wife and my 2 boys. And we went into something called Blue Hole Cenote. Really, really cool. And we climbed all the way down to the water part. And there's a platform that you can jump off of about, 7 feet down into the water. So, I went up there, I jumped in, you feel your stomach come up a little bit, but overall it's not too crazy. So I went in and I jumped in, all good. My older boy, my 9-year-old son, he stood on the platform wanting to jump in. You could see it in him. He was excited at the possibility of jumping in, but he was scared. So he kept going to the edge of the platform and turning back. And he kept going to the edge of the platform and turning back. And he's kind of giggling, but scared and nervous and all this stuff. And when I would ask him, like, what are you afraid of? He's like, well, there's that thing down there. What if I hit that? Which he wasn't going to hit. It was like what do they call it? Like a bob, like this floating bob, just to delineate like one side from the other of this cenote. So he's like, oh, I could hit that. He's coming up with all these reasons, all these things. And then it's like, oh, well, if you jump first, then I'll go. Or if this happens, then I'll do it. So coming up with all these other outside excuses to say, oh, no, I'm not afraid. It's just that this needs to happen first, and then I'll go do it. Sound familiar? So he's worried and scared or whatever. And at a certain point, honestly, probably in a moment of like frustration, but also recognizing as a dad, like sometimes you gotta, give your kids a little nudge. I said, look, buddy, I'm not letting you go backwards. So you're here at the end of this thing. In 5 seconds, I'm either gonna throw you in or you jump in. And I started counting down from 5. When I got to about 3, he was like, oh my God, and he just jumped in. He jumped in. And when he popped up out of the water, the sounds that I heard from him, that release, all that fear gone, that joy, that all of that was so cool. But then what happened next to me was even cooler. It was 2 things. One, he came out of the water. I saw him run all the way up around this big deck. He comes down and no hesitation, jumps right back in. Then he did it again, a 3rd time, laughing and giggling the whole time. That I can picture the sound. It made my heart sing. Then my 6-year-old, who was afraid to jump, he jumped in. So my big boy, my 9-year-old son, by doing something to overcome his fear, not only released all the illogical fears and got rid of all the excuses of what's holding him back or whatever. He got rid of all of that in that moment. But he also released his brother. He was a leader for his brother, and his brother saw his big bro jumping in, so now he could do it too. He took away his fear by doing the one thing that eliminates fear. There's only one. There's not 5, there's not 20, there's one thing that eliminates fear, and that's acting. That's actually acting. It's doing something. There's no way to overcome fear by analyzing. There's no way to overcome fear by thinking about it. In fact, that just creates more fear because your brain gets bigger and bigger. Think about my kid. He's standing at the end of this platform, and I told him the longer you stay up here, the bigger it's going to be, the more fear you're going to have, the more scary it's going to seem. But if you just go, it's going to be way better. So the longer you think about and analyze doing something like buying the property you want to buy or making the move you want to move, and the more you abdicate to a political candidate, and the wrong ones at that, Harris and Trump are not the ones to vote for. The more you abdicate for those to those two or that incident or that event to happen before you do something, it's ridiculous. The only way to overcome fear is to act. The other thing to know about that scenario was my son overcame his fear by acting. But the way in which he acted was by understanding that there was something bigger to fear. So he leveraged fear. That thing that was bigger to fear was dad. I was going to throw him in. It's not dangerous. Some people might judge me. I don't give a shit. Judge me. It's not dangerous, and he wanted to do it. Like, we had another incident there where he was terrified to go down a zip line, like crying, terrified. And I was kind of pushing him, and I regret that because, like, I should have just told him, buddy, it's okay. He didn't end up doing it, but I was like, buddy, come on, you could do it. But he just needed dad to be dad. That was a bad dad moment. But the good dad moment was when he was giddy and laughy, like, I want to do it, but I'm scared. I want to do it. Oh, my God, I can't wait. But, oh, should I? And me just saying, buddy, I'm going to push you if you don't do it. People need that nudge every so often, and he did it. So that's me explaining my dad. But anyway, but he had a bigger fear. The bigger fear was dad. So he created a bigger fear in his brain so that this fear didn't seem as big, and he jumped in. And again, that release, that giddiness, that happiness, that realization, like, oh, I had nothing to be afraid of to begin with. I figured it out after I took the action and overcame the fear. That's where many of you sit. Maybe you do right now. Maybe I'm talking to you. Maybe you're saying, I'm waiting till after the election because if this happens, that's going to be bad. I truly believe it. Bullshit. Get that out of your head. Get that out of your body. Trump isn't your savior. Harris isn't your savior. Trump isn't the devil for your life. Harris isn't the devil for your life. It's you. So here's who I want you to vote for. I want you to vote for yourself. Goofy, right? Just bear with me. Vote for yourself. If you actually just say, it's not about this candidate or that, and you take action, that's a vote for you, because only you are going to control your circumstances. And here's how you create a bigger fear than the election, a bigger fear than what if I buy and it goes to shit? What if the fiscal reform bill comes through and it's no good? Oh my God, Jamie, I'm waiting on this fiscal reform. I hear that one too. Or I'm waiting on the impact. There's the wars, Ukraine, Gaza. What if I gotta wait? I gotta wait and see. Sure. Tell yourself that. Hold yourself in place. Be scared. Sit there trembling and blame it on something else. Bullshit. You're scared. It's okay to be scared. The only way not to is to act. And the way to act is understand there's a bigger fear. Let me give it to you. I want you to picture the last day of your life right now. Go to it. I don't care how you say you're going to live to 120, 70, 80. Average age is about 78 in the United States. But just picture you as an old man or woman on your deathbed. Just picture that. And then imagine you as you now walk in and you see you laying on your deathbed. And you on your deathbed says, why didn't we? Why didn't we go do the thing that we wanted to do? Why didn't we take it? Because of an election? Because of a reform bill? Because of the next election? The last election? Anybody ever hear this is the most important election of our life? Give me a fucking break. I've heard that since I've been able to vote in 1996. This is the most important. Get over it. Because old you, last day of life you, that person is who you want to vote for. That person is who you should fear approaching and telling them that you didn't do shit and you could have. Drives me up a fucking wall. I don't care if you don't like me cursing. To hear people say, I'm waiting on an election to do something. I'm waiting on a war to end. I'm waiting on a reform bill. I'm waiting on anything. Fucking act. Go. Do it. Go despite your fear. Go because that's the only way you're going to overcome your fear. And if you look back on your life, I guarantee that that's been the story of how you got to where you are right now. At some point or different points, you acted despite your fear. And only by acting did you overcome your fear. Moving to a new city, taking on a bigger job, having a kid. That's a fun act to overcome your fear, at least for guys. That's a fun act to overcome fear. But you act it to overcome your fear. The idea that a candidate for office is going to do something for you blows my mind. Only you can. And if there's a reform bill or if there's not, if there's a correction in the market in the next few years or if there's not, what, you're going to wait for it? What are you waiting for? Interest rates, Jamie. If they tick down a little bit, bullshit. If they tick down a little bit, the prices go up. Just stop. There's nothing to wait for. Act or sit in fear, live in fear. And one day when you are that old person laying on your deathbed, boy, I pray for you. I want you to fear future you regretting what current you is not doing more than fearing losing money or the political candidate that gets in office or the reform bill or whatever it is you're telling yourself you need to be afraid of. I hope you don't do that anymore. I hope you act in spite of fear, not the other way around. Vote for you. Oh, this gets me emotional. Vote for you. I did it. I had to do it. If not, I'd be in I'd be sitting in a white office with gray wall, with gray cube, like gray whatever they do, gray things, a gray desk, staring at a computer, answering email for shit I didn't want to do. And it's scary. It was scary to leap. It was scary to jump. But boy, my life's not perfect. And I love being down here. People say, oh, you're living the life. I mean, I'm living life. I'm just living it here. But boy, the idea that I could still be stuck, that I could still be sitting in that office right now, 3.5 years later, instead of where I am, which is outside of Starbucks in a beautiful country, talking to all of you, creating content, doing what I want to do with my day, connecting with my wife, going to all of my kids' practices, taking them to cenotes and throwing them in, or at least scaring them that I will, having bad dad moments like I did on the zip line, learning how to live this life just like we all are, but doing it on my terms. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to overcome fear. It really does. But all you can do is act. Stop waiting for Trump to save you, or stop vilifying Trump for making your life worse or projecting that it will. Stop waiting for Harris to save you, or stop vilifying Harris for making your life worse if she becomes the president. It doesn't matter. That's what I got. I'm rambling at this point. I hope you all take action. If you need any help in that, there's some links below. You can click and see what you need. If you need realtors or attorneys or whatever, it's there for you. It's there for you. Check it out. But I hope this helps some of you. Stop telling yourself that something else other than you is responsible for your ability to act. Sending my love.